Welcome and congratulations on your new Timney trigger. My name is Alex. I'm here to help guide you through the installation of the AK drop-in trigger, as well as give a few tech tips where needed to make the installation process seamless. Without further ado, let's get into it. To get started, we're going to make sure that the ammunition source is clear, no magazine, chamber is empty. We can go ahead and remove the dust cover and get into it. Now that we made sure that the ammunition source has been removed, we can go ahead and remove the dust cover. Move that to the fire position. Go ahead and push in the back button and pull up on the dust cover. Should be able to remove that. And then push this whole assembly forward, up and out, and this should slide out. Now we can remove the bolt, slide it back into the grooves, should come up and out. Now that we have the bolt and dust cover removed, we can go ahead and move this to the safe position and actually rotate that all the way up, and it should come out. You can set that aside. It will be needed for the install. Now we want to cover the hammer as we release the trigger. Make sure not to let that slap forward. With the hammer in the forward position, we can take the provided Allen key, and in here the spring legs can kind of be wrapped around the bottom portion here and brought up. And just wrap that around the hammer. Get both sides on that. That releases any tension from the trigger in the hammer. With the hammer spring legs over the hammer, this will allow the pins to kind of move around a little bit more freely. You want to take your pin retainer. Each AK variant is going to be a little bit different depending on which model you have. You want to kind of wiggle that around. Might be a little bit tighter on some than others. And we just want to pop this up and around the receiver, so that can be removed and reinstalled later. Then, going to use a small punch or the Allen key provided and remove these two pins. With the retainer removed, a small punch here, we can kind of push these pins. Some might be a little bit tighter than others. If they are tight, then you can use punch and a hammer. This one is not needed, so we can just push them out. We'll set those aside. And then the trigger will be removed. And then in here, your hammer may not come out directly, so if you bring it back and slide it around, it comes out a little bit easier. Now we can start installing the Timney AK drop-in trigger. It will not drop directly in. It might hit these ears on the side of the receiver. So you want to go ahead and at an angle. Drop the front down in first, rotate it around, and then it should drop into position. We can then start the front pin, make sure that is aligned, and do the same with the rear. Once those pins are in place and lined up on the back, we can go ahead and reinstall that pin retainer. Before we install the safety, we want to make sure that the trigger is centered in the receiver. If it is not, we can go ahead and loosen those screws, make sure that it is positioned toward the center of the receiver, and then retighten those down. We're going to go ahead and keep the hammer in a cocked position, reinsert the safety selector, line that up. And when you push it down to the safe position, if it's not going down, no worries, no modification is needed to the safety itself. We're going to go ahead and remove this rear screw on the back of the trigger. This is a screw that is removed from the back of the trigger assembly. That is only if your safety does not go down into the fire position with the hammer back, that this will need to be removed to allow clearance. Now we can insert the safety selector, line up the hole on the ends of the receiver, push that down, In the fire position, when testing the trigger assembly, want to cover the hammer when you pull the trigger. Make sure that that releases, and when you put it to the safe position, when you pull the trigger, the hammer does not release. Want to make sure that that hammer is covered though, so that way it doesn't fly forward. To note on the safety selector when installing it, if it is not functioning properly, then you'll need to adjust that safety screw counterclockwise until it blocks it where you can't take it off of safe, and then adjust it about a quarter turn at a time clockwise down or until it clears that you're able to engage the safety selector. Once it's engaged, should be good to go. With the safety functioning properly, we can go ahead and reinsert the bolt, do a final test. Want to make sure that this bolt is all the way forward. Align your fist and rod, and this should just fit nice and flush there. Can be pushed forward and in. Take your spring, push that all the way forward, down on this back groove, keeps it in place. Now we can install the dust cover. We will do one last function test before we take it out to the range and enjoy it. So make sure it's in safe position, pull the trigger, nothing happens. As soon as you move it to a fire, it releases the hammer. And that's it. We hope that this has helped you with the installation process of the AK drop-in trigger. If you have any remaining questions, our world-class customer service agents are more than happy to help. Just give us a call, 623-223-1111, or head over to the website and click the yellow Contact Us button on the right-hand side. If not, congratulations on installing your new Timney trigger. You can now go shoot with ease knowing you've got the world's finest trigger in your hands.